Alright, man. What's good, YouTube? Trizzy Gang in the hood. Trizzy Gang, what's good, family? Listen, man, we back with another NBA homework video from the past. We got every 90s NBA season explained in 30 minutes. Now, I feel like this is a great way, you know what I'm saying, to do some homework. Obviously, I know a little bit of things that happened in the 90s. I want to let y'all know, man, I'm not no amateur when it comes to this basketball stuff. Like, I obviously still know a few things. Like, I'm not going to sit up and act like I just don't know nothing. Like, I'm just coming into this, you know what I'm saying, these NBA videos with not knowing anything that happened in the past. Like, I know things that happened in the past. Do I know everything? No. Do I try to make it seem like I know everything? No. I don't know why some of y'all think that I just claim that I know everything. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I do speak on what I do know. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm wrong, I'll tell y'all. I'll tell y'all when I'm wrong. Now, listen. Yesterday, we did a Larry Bird versus Michael Jordan video. And a lot of y'all didn't like it. A lot of y'all didn't like it. A lot of y'all called me a hater and stuff for what the things I said about MJ towards, I assume the end. You know what I'm saying? How I still chose MJ over Larry Bird. Listen, y'all. At the end of the day, and this is respectfully, we all have our own opinions when it comes to who we think is the GOAT. Like, we all have our own opinions, y'all. That's the whole point of NBA debates. That's why we've been doing this since the beginning of time. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, we're never all going to agree on who's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we did, we would never have debates. You know what I'm saying? Especially about who's the GOAT. You feel me? But in my opinion, I got Michael Jordan as the GOAT. I feel like once he started winning, he didn't stop. Like, no cap. Once he got to the finals that first time, he never stopped. You know what I'm saying? Like, every time he got this man never lost in the finals. 6 straight finals wins? I'm not going to say straight like he went every, you know what I'm saying, 6 years back to back to back to back. No. I'm just saying every time he went to the finals, he won a chip. Man, you can't say he's not the GOAT, bro. You can't say he's not the GOAT. Now, sure, it's almost like this is my best way I could put it when it comes to Larry Bird and Michael Jordan debate. That I'm going to just end it here, y'all. The best way I think about it is like KD and Steph right now. Who's the better hooper between KD and Steph? Y'all, most people are going to say KD. KD is a better hooper than Steph. He is. A lot of us would take KD's play style, like the way, like, you know what I'm saying, him just as a player, like the way he plays. But who do y'all think is higher all time? Curry or KD? It's Curry. Who's greater, Curry or KD? Curry. It's no different from Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Larry Bird was literally putting belt to ass against Michael Jordan. Straight whipping his shit, bruh. I do think that Larry Bird is an all-around better player than him. But you're not the greatest player. You're not. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I'm going to be real. If Larry Bird had not got hurt, he probably would have been. That's one thing you have to say. Sure, he did a lot in his time when he was here. But if he wouldn't have got injured, then you can really make an argument, okay, because let's see what he would have done if he still didn't get hurt. What would he have done? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all respect to him in those 3 chips. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the 3 MVPs, like, all respect to him. But we can't deny who Jordan is. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, that's just my opinion. A lot of y'all also don't have LeBron in your top 10, but this video ain't about no top 10. I just had to get it out the way because a lot of y'all thought that I was hating on Bird or I just don't fuck with Bird, or a lot of y'all trying to make it seem like I'm racist or something. Bro, I said Bird was the coldest white boy to ever touch a basketball. Nobody's ever going to be colder than him. And usually when I hear folks talking about coldest white boy, they talking about Luka and Dirk. But nah, we did the homework. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's ever touching Bird. I'm not going to lie. He's definitely top 5, but I'm not gonna give you my top 5 yet, but let's get into this video, man. Roll to 10K. Let's see what's talking about.
These weren't just another stretch of NBA history. They turned basketball into a global obsession. This was the decade when Michael Jordan didn't.
Nah, Larry Bird is not gonna be in this video because it's the 90s, and you know, Bird, this is when he got up out the league, so Bird ain't even gonna be in this.
He made winning look untouchable. It was the end of the bad boys, the shock of Magic's goodbye, and Hakeem's footwork rewriting the rules for big men. It was Reggie Miller silencing the Garden, Barkley fighting for a ring, Shaq and Penny lighting up Orlando. This was rivalries turned personal, elbows flying, sneakers turning into culture, highlights becoming legend. And through it all, the Bulls, 6 rings, no game 7s, one empire that rose fell.
No game 7s. No game 7s, y'all.
Was again. This is every single season of the 90s explained moment
Let's
by
get
moment.
it. Let's get it.
One decade changed the NBA forever. The 1990-91 season wasn't just the beginning of a championship run. It was the final nail in the coffin for one era and the birth cry of another. Back then, the NBA's Eastern Conference belonged to the Detroit Pistons,
Right.
the Bad Boys. For 3
Bad Boy
brutal
Pistons.
years, they turned playoff series into street fights. Their Jordan...
And I'm gonna let y'all know, bro, like, as much as, like, I see y'all in the comments, too, talking about how, like, the NBA players today, like, they can't even do this, they can't do that. I mean, yeah, I don't agree with a lot of the rules that the NBA has in place today, like, the way you have to guard and stuff like that. But let's not act like this was real defense. All right? This wasn't real defense either. This is called hacking, y'all. to a lot of y'all OGs. This is hacking. All right? This isn't defense. I told y'all. If it wasn't for them, like, caring about their careers, bro, a lot of NBA players should have got, like, kicked out the NBA. Because personally, me, if I was in the NBA, bro, I'm literally gonna fucking fight somebody till they die. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. With the way you guard, like, the way you hacking me like this, bro, why are you hacking me like that, bro? Like, to the point where you might cause me to have a career-ending injury. Like, I'm not doing that with you, bro. So I'm gonna be real. This is not real defense. I don't care what any of you OG says. Respect to all of y'all, but, like, this isn't real defense. This isn't good defense. I do think that players back then were more tougher than players now, but bro, this is not equate to defense, y'all. I'm being
rules
real.
were simple.
This is
Hit him,
WWE.
bump him, knock him down every time he came near the rim.
Why?
They didn't care if it was clean or dirty. They cared about winning. And for a while...
That's not clean, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, even if you're not talking about NBA today, hooping outside, like, on the court, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the backyard or whatever, bro, we don't even play defense like that. We don't play NBA rule defense nowadays, but we don't play defense like this. But you can still play good defense, get a stop and stuff like that without having to push people out midair so they don't score. So you win the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not real defense, y'all.
It worked. Each spring, Michael Jordan would walk off the court...
Like, he could have ended his career right there.
While Isaiah Thomas and company muscled their way to back-to-back titles. But this season, something flipped. Jordan came back stronger. Not just his body, but his mind. He didn't fight the Pistons' violence with violence. He fought it with trust. Trust in Scottie Pippen, whose game had evolved from raw athleticism to surgical skill. Trust in Horace Grant, who'd learned to...
Horace Grant was like that, I ain't gonna lie.
And trust in Phil Jackson's triangle offense. A system built not just for Jordan to score, but for the whole team to break you apart like puzzle pieces. The Bulls stormed through the regular season with 61 wins, the most they'd ever had with Jordan. By the time they ran into Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals, they weren't hoping to survive the Bad Boys. They were ready to bury them. Game after game, Chicago punched back, not with fists, but with unstoppable basketball. They swept the Pistons 4-0, so dominant that Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, and the rest of Detroit's core couldn't stomach it. With seconds left in Game 4.
Yeah, and I was, in my Larry Bird video yesterday, I was like, bro, Isaiah Thomas, you a hater and all this stuff like that, but, like, I'm gonna be real. I think this is where it all stemmed from. You know what I'm saying? Like, him not shaking MJ's hand and all that. I think that's where the beef just started from at this point, where MJ ended up saying he don't want to play on the same team as Isaiah Thomas in the Olympics. Like,
or they infamously walked off their home floor early. No handshakes, no congratulations, just booze raining down as they disappeared into the tunnel. For Detroit, that exit was the last page of a brutal chapter. For Jordan, it was...
That was high-key disrespectful, though, for, like, no reason.
Meanwhile, in the West, the Lakers were holding on to the last flicker of showtime. Magic Johnson, still dazzling at 31, ran the floor with that effortless grin, throwing no-look passes and hook shots like time hadn't touched him. But the supporting cast that made Magic Magic was crumbling.
That
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had retired 2 seasons earlier. James Worthy was limping through a sprained ankle. Byron Scott was there, but the depth was thin. When the finals tipped off Bulls versus Lakers, it felt like a clash of timelines. The past on one bench,
and they still got to the finals. Shout out to the Lakers.
Game 1 was a shocker. Magic stole it on Chicago's floor, dropping a triple-double while the young Bulls looked tight, almost nervous under the lights. For a moment, people wondered, was this the same old story? Was Jordan about to get schooled by the last king standing? Then came Game 2, and one move changed everything. Midway through the second half, Jordan drove baseline, elevated under the rim, switched the ball from his right hand to his left in midair, and softly kissed the layup off the glass. A move so smooth, so casual, it looked like he was just showing off. In reality, he was. That switch hand...
Oh, yeah. All right, we back, y'all.
...layup is still one of the most replayed shots in finals history. The moment the whole world saw a man become something more than just a scorer. The Bulls took the next 4 games, closing out the Lakers in 5. When the clock hit 0 in Game 5, Jordan clutched the Larry O'Brien trophy, and wept in the locker room the years of punishment, the heartbreak, the doubts.
Iconic picture. That's my profile pic right now.
Tears. The Pistons were gone. The Lakers were fading. The 90s were open territory. And Michael Jordan had just planted his flag.
The Brad Force.
This was the breakthrough, the start of an empire. And everyone else was about to find out just how long the shadows of the Chicago Bulls could stretch. Michael Jordan didn't just want to win. He wanted to make sure nobody thought the first ring was a fluke. And by the time the 1991-92 season tipped off, he was ready to prove that the Bulls weren't a one-hit wonder. They were a machine. Chicago came out swinging. Jordan was on another level, adding a sharper edge to his already unstoppable game. He averaged over 30 points a night and made every arena feel like his personal stage. But this year wasn't just about Jordan putting up numbers. It was about the Bulls cementing themselves as a dynasty in the making. While Jordan soared, Scottie Pippen stepped fully into the role of Batman's co-pilot. Pippen's all-around brilliance, defending the other team's
Pippen was nasty, man.
pushing the break, running the offense when Jordan sat, made Chicago deeper and scarier than ever. Together, they bulldozed through the regular season with 67 wins, the best record in the league. But the playoffs weren't a walkover. In the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers...
Yo, he really... Bro, I ain't gonna lie. Jordan and the Bulls really couldn't wait until Larry Bird... I'm gonna just say Larry Bird because he's the one who was really whipping his ass. He could not wait till he was out of the league, man. Man. That's
Cavaliers
crazy.
had matured into real contenders, and the New York Knicks under Pat Riley had transformed into Jordan's new headache. The Knicks weren't the bad boys, but they played with the same bruising intensity. Patrick Ewing patrolled the paint like a skyscraper with elbows. Charles Oakley made sure you felt every screen. Games were rock fights. But the Bulls powered through, eliminating the Knicks in 7 tough games and then brushing aside the Cavs to reach their second straight finals. Waiting for them was Clyde Drexler and the Portland Trailblazers.
The guy.
Clyde was no ordinary challenger.
I said Clyde.
People
Clyde
love to say he...
Clyde the Glide. I don't know why I said Clyde the Glide. I keep saying Clyde. Man, I gotta stop watching AMP.
Was the next closest thing to Michael. A high-flying shooting guard with speed, hops, and a sweet stroke.
Damn.
The media hyped it as Jordan versus Drexler, a battle for the crown. Jordan didn't appreciate that comparison one bit. Game 1 in Chicago set the tone for the whole series. Drexler was good, Jordan was god level. In the first half alone,
Drexler's
Jordan hit 6 three-pointers,
cooked.
a barrage so unexpected that he gave the world an immortal shrug after the last one dropped. That shrug game buried any doubt about who really owned the spotlight. Portland was tough. Terry Porter, Jerome Kersey, Buck Williams, but they weren't tougher than the Bulls' will to repeat. The series stretched to 6.
I don't know any of those players. They probably were tough, though. I ain't gonna lie.
But Chicago had too much firepower, too much poise, and too much Michael. In Game 6, down 15 heading into the 4th, the Bulls stormed back behind Jordan and Pippen, turning the old Chicago stadium into a thunderstorm of noise. When the final buzzer sounded, confetti rained again. Back-to-back titles. Jordan held up 2 fingers in the locker room. He'd proved it once might be
He knew it was winning time.
That's destiny. But the season's biggest shock didn't come in the finals. It came a few months earlier, off the court. In November 1991, Magic Johnson stunned the world by announcing he had tested positive for HIV and would retire immediately. The news hit the league like a brick through glass. Magic wasn't just a superstar. He was one of the faces that built the modern NBA.
Facts.
His goodbye forced the world to face a disease it barely understood and proved that even legends were mortal. In the end, the 1991-92 season...
I ain't gonna lie. I be thinking about that Magic shit. I'm just like, I low-key feel bad, bro, because, like, at the end of the day, like, it was his decision to be, like, you know what I'm saying, fucking all the hoes like that, but, like, man, you know how embarrassing that has to be? Like, I think I said that in my Magic video. Like, that has to be mad embarrassing, bro, to, like, have to come out and say, like, yeah, I tested positive for this. Realistically, y'all, I was just fucking too many bitches. Like, that's high-key embarrassing to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I always forever feel bad for Magic with that, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Showed what the 90s would become. Unstoppable Bulls on the floor, seismic shocks off it, and a league changing faster than anyone could predict. The repeat was complete, but Jordan's hunger was only getting started.
I ain't gonna lie. This whole video about the motherfucking, you know what I'm saying, Bulls? I thought I was coming here to learn about some other folks. I mean, I'm hearing a little bit about other folks, but, like, I get it, man. I mean, the Bulls did win damn near every single year in the 90s, but, like, man.
By the time the 1992-93 season tipped off, the Chicago Bulls were the measuring stick. Everyone wanted what they had. The rings, the swagger, the global spotlight. But defending a title once is hard. Defending it twice is legendary. Going for 3? That's when a dynasty turns into a myth. Michael Jordan was still unstoppable, but this year he wasn't alone in the MVP conversation. Charles Barkley, the round mound of rebound, had landed in Phoenix and turned the Suns into instant contenders. Barkley was brash, brilliant, and built like a linebacker with point guard handles. He talked trash. He bullied in the paint. He pulled down boards like he owned the glass. The Suns tore through the league with the best record, and Barkley snagged the MVP, an honor Jordan quietly took as a personal insult. The Bulls weren't as sharp as the year before. They won only 57 games. The season dragged. The weight of being on top showed in flashes of fatigue.
You already know, man.
Moments where they looked human. But when the playoffs came, Jordan flipped the switch. Again, Chicago got tested early. The Knicks, bruising, relentless, pushed the Bulls to the brink in the East Finals. Patrick Ewing was a monster inside. John Starks and Charles Oakley played every game like a street fight. New York jumped out to a 2-0 lead, and headlines were already whispering, "Is this the end of the Bulls?" Jordan answered with back-to-back statement games in Chicago, then dropped 29 and 54 in games 5 and 6 to close out the series. Any doubt about his killer instinct vanished in Madison Square Garden that May. The finals were a dream matchup. Jordan versus Barkley. The league's biggest star versus the league's biggest personality. The Suns had firepower. Barkley, Kevin Johnson, Dan Marley, and they pushed Chicago to the edge.
The Suns weren't no scrubs, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, that's why I mean, hey, Charles Barkley, you do be talking crazy. But, like, I feel bad for him, too, man. If it wasn't for Jordan, this nigga would have a ring. Like,
3, the Suns clawed out a triple overtime thriller in Chicago Stadium, one of the greatest finals games ever played. But Jordan wouldn't let it slip. He averaged a mind-bending 41 points per game for the series, still the highest mark ever for a finals. Game 6 and
41 points per game in the finals? Bro, nah, that's crazy, man. I ain't gonna lie. 41 a game. Who was the second closest to that? That's
Phoenix was an instant classic. Back and forth for 4 quarters. Barkley doing everything to drag the Suns to a Game 7. And then with 3.9 seconds left, John Paxson, not Jordan, not Pippen, drilled the coldest three-pointer of his life to put Chicago up for good. On the final play, Horace Grant stuffed Kevin Johnson at the rim to seal it. When the buzzer sounded, Jordan leapt into the desert air, 3 fingers up. The Bulls had done what only the Celtics of the 60s had pulled off, 3 straight championships. The three-peat was real, the dynasty undeniable. But under the confetti and the champagne, something was shifting. Jordan looked tired. The constant spotlight, the endless questions, the grind of being the face of the league, the icon, the superhero, it was wearing him down. Rumors swirled that he might walk away. He said nothing, just smiled, held up 3 fingers and disappeared to walk away. The icon, the superhero, it was wearing him down. Rumors.
Yeah, I was about to say that was definitely a double, like, or a travel, whatever he did. Like,
swirled that he might walk away. He said nothing, just smiled, held up 3 fingers and disappeared into the summer. Outside the arena, the rest of the league felt the chill. If this was MJ worn out, what did it take to actually stop him? Nobody knew. Nobody wanted to find out. But they wouldn't have to wait long to see just how deep the man's story could twist. For now, the 90s belonged to the Bulls. But the next chapter was about to flip the NBA upside down. October 6, 1993, Michael Jordan walked into a packed press conference, looked the world dead in the eye, and said 2 words nobody saw coming: "I'm done." 3 rings, 3 straight titles, the undisputed king of the basketball world. And he was stepping away at the peak. His father's tragic murder that summer had broken something inside him.
I'm retiring too, y'all. I ain't gonna lie.
The fire was out. So the greatest player alive traded sneakers for spikes and left to chase his father's old dream, baseball.
Damn, man.
Just like that, the NBA was forced to answer a terrifying question. What does this league look like without Michael Jordan? If you were a fan that year, it felt like watching a stage with the lead actor missing. But the show went on, and the vacuum
left. Bro, imagine your favorite player during his peak saying out of nowhere, "I'm done." Like, man, I ain't gonna lie. I'm trying to think, because obviously a lot of y'all know Curry is my favorite player. I'm like, Curry in, like, let's say 2016, 2017 would have said, "I'm done." Bro, I promise you I would have called off work. I would have came home with a glass of wine or some straight up alcohol. You know what I'm saying? and just cried all day. I'm gonna be real, man. I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't know how y'all MJ Bulls fans was feeling then, man. Y'all had to be hurt.
Left room for new stars to fight for the throne. In Chicago, Scottie Pippen finally got his shot to run the Bulls his way.
Damn!
No longer the sidekick, Scottie put up an MVP caliber season,
Facts.
locking up opponents, running the break, doing everything for a Bulls
Scottie
team
was
suddenly
really like
searching
that.
for a new identity. Under Pippen's steady hand, Chicago still won 55 games,
Sheesh.
but no Jordan meant no margin for error. In the playoffs, the Knicks, always waiting to crack Chicago's crown, got revenge. The series swung on one infamous moment. Game 3, down 2-0, Pippen refused to check in for the final play when Phil Jackson drew up the last shot for Tony Kukoc instead of him. Kukoc hit the game winner, but the crack in Chicago's armor was real. Without Jordan's iron grip, the dynasty wobbled. With the Bulls knocked out, the East belonged to
Pippen, you getting all mad and shit. Like, first of all, he made the shot. You know what I'm saying? That's your ego playing with you. And I low-key feel like, even though I'm not too in tune with, like, the 90s and all that timing, bro, I watched The Last Dance, man. Pippen, you low-key had an ego of death, bro. I ain't gonna lie. You low-key had a crazy ego, gang. He made the shot. You know what I'm saying? And I just watched you. I don't know if that was I don't know when that shot was that he just showed. But this was a terrible shot, gang.
Jordan's iron grip. The dynasty wobbled.
Look at this.
With the Bulls knocked out, the East belonged to the Knicks. Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, John Starks. They bullied their way past the Bulls, then survived a slugfest against the Indiana Pacers. Madison Square Garden roared like it hadn't in decades. The finals were theirs to lose. Out west, another story was taking shape. Hakeem's quiet reign in Houston. The dream had always been brilliant. That soft
Hakeem,
touch, that
the dream.
impossible footwork. But in 93-94, Hakeem finally had the pieces around him. Vernon Maxwell, Robert Horry, Kenny Smith. Houston
Look at
locked
that boy,
in,
Kenny
played
Smith.
defense like their lives depended on it, and rode Hakeem's MVP and Defensive Player of the Year season straight to the finals. Knicks versus Rockets. Ewing versus Hakeem, a rematch from their college title game a decade earlier. The series was a rock
Dang,
fight.
look how many bodies
7
he's
games
catching.
of grinded-out defense, clutch buckets, and near brawls in the paint. Starks had a chance to win it for New York in Game 6, but his shot turned cold when it mattered most. 2 for 18 cold.
2 for
Game 7 was
18.
Hakeem's masterpiece. He swatted shots, sank fadeaways, and owned the glass. When the buzzer sounded, the Rockets were champs. Houston's first
Give me
title.
that.
Hakeem finally crowned. People whispered, would this have happened if Jordan was here? The question didn't matter
Alright,
to
nah.
Hakeem. He'd waited too
Shout out to
long,
Hakeem.
worked too hard. The ring was his, legit or not. The league was different now. Parity replaced a king. The crown was up for grabs, but the rumors were already swirling. How long would it stay that way? Because Michael Jordan might be gone, but he wasn't forgotten. And everybody knew the story wasn't finished yet. For a season and a half,
Is that true though? Like back from the people that was watching this video that were, you know what I'm saying, watching the game
the
back
NBA
then, did y'all actually feel like Jordan would come back, or was he really not saying nothing back then to like the news and anything like that? Or, you know what I'm saying, like, was he not saying a word? Or did y'all always think he was going to come back? Y'all let me know.
learned how to live without Michael Jordan. But nobody ever really believed he was gone for good. And in March 1995, after swinging at curveballs and riding buses in the minor leagues, MJ sent 2 words to every news desk in America. I'm back. No grand speech, no spectacle. Just a facts cold, simple, devastating for the rest of the league. When Jordan
Him and these 2 words is killing me. I'm done. I'm back.
stepped onto the floor in Indianapolis for his first game back, the whole world watched. He wore number 45, his old baseball number, the same one he wore as a kid, because 23 felt like it belonged to the old version of him. He
Man,
rusty.
you better go back to
His
that old
legs weren't
version
all
of
the
you.
way under him. He bricked shots he used to bury in his sleep, but flashes of the old Jordan still flickered. The footwork, the fadeaway, that look in his eyes that said, try me. Then came the double nickel. 5th game back, Madison Square Garden. 55 points against the Knicks, the same building he used to torture every spring. It was official, the king was shaking off the cobwebs. The Bulls, who drifted without him, suddenly had life. Pippen and Kukoc welcomed him back, even if adjusting to the old pecking order wasn't always smooth. Chicago clawed into the playoffs as a 5 seed. Dangerous but flawed.
Them as a 5
Waiting for
seed?
them were the young Orlando Magic, a team that looked like the future. Shaquille O'Neal, 23 years old, 300 pounds of pure destruction. Penny Hardaway,
That
all
boy,
style
Penny.
and control. A 6'7" point guard with Magic Johnson's vision and Jordan's swagger. Orlando wasn't scared. In Game 1, the Bulls were up 1 in the final seconds. Jordan, still wearing 45, brought the ball up, but Nick Anderson stripped him from behind, a theft so unthinkable it felt like a glitch in the Matrix. The Magic scored. Game over. The next day, Jordan switched back to 23, a silent message that
he said, man, I'm going back to my old jersey, man. I lost my superpowers. I don't know what was in that 23 in the red and white, but I gotta go back, man. That's crazy.
Was over. The series was fierce. Chicago punched back. Jordan dropped 40 in Game 5. But Orlando's youth and size were too much. Horace Grant, now wearing Magic blue,
oh yeah, Horace Grant did go to the Magic,
grabbed the final rebound in Game 6 and got carried off the court by his new teammates, while the old dynasty watched. The Magic made the finals but got steamrolled by the Houston Rockets because while everyone focused on MJ's comeback...
See, that's so crazy. Obviously, MJ lost in the playoffs, but it's just so crazy. How do you be losing in the playoffs, but anytime you made the finals, you made sure you won? Like, that's what's crazy to me. I just think that's what separates him from, and that's why a lot of us, because it's not just me, obviously, y'all, but a lot of us have him as the GOAT, because it's like, when you got to the finals, bro, you just did not lose ever. Sure, you lost in the playoffs, like every other fucking player has to lose, but like once you got to the finals, which not every player gets there, once you got there, bro, you never lost in the finals. That's crazy, bro.
Was busy reminding the league that he owned the present. The Rockets...
So he was beatable, just not in the finals. You know what I'm saying?
6th seed in the West, knocked out Stockton and Malone's Jazz, Barkley's Suns, and then the giant Magic front line. Hakeem destroyed Shaq head-to-head, spinning him dizzy with that dream shake. Houston swept Orlando
with
back-to-back titles.
This is Hakeem in his prime.
Would the Magic have beaten the Bulls if Jordan was really back? He heard it all. He wrote it all down. And that summer, he locked himself in a gym, dragged Pippen and Kerr with him, and promised never to come back half-ready again.
Dragged Pippen and Kerr.
The king had returned, but the league had gotten cocky while he was gone. That was about to end. The next season would show everyone just how dangerous Jordan could be when he felt embarrassed. And embarrassed Jordan was the scariest player the NBA had ever seen. If you wanted to see what happens when the greatest player alive feels humiliated, you watch the 1995-96 Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan spent the entire offseason with a chip on his shoulder bigger than any trophy. The Orlando loss burned him. The whispers that he'd lost a step, that 45 wasn't 23, that maybe the league had moved on. He didn't say much. He just dragged his teammates into the gym, again and again. If you were on the Bulls that summer, you were living in Jordan's world. Brutal practices, no excuses, no days off, no mercy.
That boy was not playing.
The front office gave him the final piece to turn the spark into a wildfire. Dennis Rodman. The Worm was chaos personified. Rainbow hair, tattoos, piercings, rebounds nobody else wanted. He'd been a bad boy in Detroit, an outcast in San Antonio. But Jordan and Pippen didn't care about the baggage. They wanted his hustle.
Oh God,
with Rodman vacuuming up every missed shot, the Bulls were complete. Scoring, defense, toughness, rebounding, everything. They didn't just win, they demolished. Chicago tore through the regular season with a jaw-dropping 72-10 record, the best mark the NBA had ever seen. Night after night, Jordan crushed whoever dared stand in front of him. Pippen was at his peak, a two-way monster who did everything. Rodman grabbed 15...
It's safe to say, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, Pippen and Rodman, Pippen and Jordan, they needed each other, man. Neither of them was going to win without each other. Like, ever. It was not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Jordan was getting his ass whipped. You know what I'm saying? Before Pippen and a little bit with Pippen. You know what I'm saying? By Bird. But when they got together and they actually built the team around them too, bro, it got scary for the league, bro. It got scary.
Rebounds a game, dove into the crowd for loose balls, and drove every opponent insane. Phil Jackson's triangle offense purred like a luxury car. The playoffs felt like a victory lap wrapped in a sledgehammer. They steamrolled the Heat, handled the Knicks, and smothered Shaq and Penny's Magic. Sweet revenge for the year before. Chicago didn't just beat Orlando, they humiliated them in a sweep. This time there would be no handshakes, no Horace Grant riding anyone's shoulders but Jordan's. In the finals, the Bulls met the Seattle Supersonics, a team that ran fast and hit hard. Gary Payton, the Glove, was the league's best perimeter defender and talked more trash than anyone not named Reggie Miller. Shawn Kemp, the Rain Man, soared over everyone, dunking like a human highlight reel. Seattle was good, really good, but they were running into a buzzsaw. Chicago jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the series, but Payton refused to roll over. He demanded the assignment of guarding Jordan full-time. Seattle clawed back, winning games 4 and 5 behind
How
Payton's
short was
relentless.
Gary Payton? How short was he? Because he looked like a midget out there, I ain't gonna lie.
Defense and Kemp's thunderous jams. For a second, the world wondered, could they really push this to 7? Game 6 in Chicago ended the conversation. Jordan closed it out, emotion boiling just beneath the surface. When the buzzer sounded, he collapsed to the floor in the locker room, clutching the trophy, surrounded by teammates, cameras, and memories of his father. This was his first title since his dad's murder, the one he promised himself he'd win.
Still having the tag on the hat is fucking crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all, they didn't even take the tags off the hats? That's tough.
10. Finals MVP, revenge on the Magic. A 4th ring for the GOAT. The Bulls weren't just champions. They were now in the conversation as the greatest single-season team the league had ever seen. And Jordan, he wasn't done. Not by a mile. The Empire was back on top, and everyone else was just living in its shadow. After steamrolling the league with 72 wins the year before, the 1996-97 Bulls came back hungry for more.
Jeez.
This time, the rest of the NBA knew exactly what they were facing, and still couldn't stop it. The formula hadn't changed. Michael Jordan attacking like a shark, Scottie Pippen doing everything everywhere, Dennis Rodman crashing the board.
It's so crazy because it's like in today's NBA, the most like, and I'm not even honestly talking about like this past season, but like just in today's NBA itself, like I'm gonna say past the 2013-14 season, like the most you're gonna see, like we saw, the most we saw was like the Warriors winning the chip two straight. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even win it 2 straight. What am I talking about? Actually, they did. What am I talking about? I don't know why I was thinking about the first year they won the chip and then the second year when they lost to Cleveland. But when they had KD, those back-to-back, you know what I'm saying, chips, like, that's the most we're going to see of that, bro. We're never going to see no three-peat again. Bro, we're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, NBA teams are too good nowadays, no matter what y'all say about the NBA and non-defense. Like, bro, at the end of the day, there's too much talent on these teams for one team to just be that dominant, bro. Because I'm about to say, like, I'm surprised how these teams really didn't adapt and be able to take down the Bulls. Like, I'm really, like, wondering how. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure, they had Jordan, they had Pippen, the team was good. But, like, man, y'all should have been doing some trades to try to figure out how we can take these boys down. I ain't gonna lie. If y'all know why the NBA wasn't really on that back then, y'all let me know in the comments down below.
And crashing into opponents' heads. Phil Jackson's triangle offense humming like...
Or was it the triangle offense that was just too demoralizing to where teams could not beat the Bulls? Was it the triangle offense? Or was it the fact that MJ and Pippen were just that nasty? You just couldn't do nothing about them. Like, what was it?
They won 69 games, nearly repeating the impossible, and looked every bit as ruthless as the year before. But the league wasn't standing still. Out west, the Utah Jazz, forever good but never quite good enough, finally looked ready to break through.
Let's go,
John Stockton and Karl Malone were basketball's most consistent duo. Stockton, the surgical point guard who racked up assists like a human cheat code. Malone, the mailman, delivering 27 points a night with elbows sharp enough to cut stone. This was the year Malone snagged the MVP, a move that once again Jordan took personally. The Bulls
Malone was like that though.
Handled the Bullets, checked off the Hawks, and stomped Reggie Miller's Pacers. That set the stage for a heavyweight clash in the finals. Chicago versus Utah. The best in the East versus the best in the West. Jordan versus Malone. Utah came in tough. They were physical, disciplined, and their half-court sets could choke the pace down to a crawl.
Jeez.
Malone dropped 37 in Game 3, helping the Jazz even the series at 2-0. Suddenly, the finals weren't a cakewalk, and then the legend grew. Game 5 in Salt Lake City. Jordan looked terrible, pale, sweating buckets, barely able to stand. Officially, it was the flu. Some say it was food poisoning. Either way, he should have been in bed, not on a court at 4,200 feet above sea level. Instead, he dragged himself out there, hollow-eyed and gasping for air. The Jazz built a double-digit lead early. Every time the camera cut to Jordan...
And I remember seeing this in... What was the video? I forgot what video it was that I reacted to. I think it was How Good is Michael Jordan? I don't know. But, like, nobody was hitting on nothing this game, bro. Nobody was hitting on nothing. Nobody on the Bulls was hitting on nothing, bro. Jordan said, man, fuck it, bro. Even though I got the flu, man, y'all gonna make me come out here and have to carry. Like, that's crazy to me, bro. If he really had the flu, which I believe it. I mean, look at him. He didn't look like himself. He just looked like he was going through something. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he was going through something. So for him to have to low-key carry is crazy to me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
He looked ready to pass out. But as the game went on, the will kicked in. The fadeaways still dropped. The threes still splashed. Jordan poured in 38 points that night, clutching his knees, hanging onto Scottie Pippen for balance, literally leaning on his teammate as they walked off the floor together after the final buzzer. The Bulls stole Game 5 in Utah, snatched home court back, and closed it out in 6. On their floor in front of a roaring United Center, they hoisted ring number 5. The flu game instantly became one of the most mythic chapters in Jordan's legend. It wasn't just about the points, it was about the image. The best player in the world completely spent pushing himself somewhere nobody else could follow. And yet for the Jazz, the heartbreak stung even more, because they weren't just a fluke challenger. They'd be back, and so would Jordan.
Facts, they got that rematch.
One last shot to stop the unstoppable. The Bulls were now sitting on 5 titles. Jordan was 5-0 in the finals, and everyone knew what the next season could mean, the chance to cement the greatest run the league had ever seen. By the time the 1997-98
And it's crazy to think, bro, like, Jordan could have had 7 rings. He could have had 7 had he not retired. This man could have had 7 rings. You know what I'm saying? Like 7. What the fuck? 7?
rolled around, everyone knew this was it, the last ride. It wasn't official yet, but behind the scenes, the writing was on the wall. Bulls management wanted to rebuild. Phil Jackson was told this would be his final year, no matter what.
Which, I'm not gonna lie, I still don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Even after watching The Last Dance, like, I still don't understand. Like, Jerry Krause, why did you want to rebuild so bad? Like, you got tired of winning? You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be something deeper behind the lines of that as to why, you know what I'm saying, he wanted to rebuild. But, like, I don't understand that. And if you rebuild him, why you got to get rid of Phil Jackson? Like, why'd you want him gone so bad? Like, I feel Jordan, bro. If you getting rid of Pippen and you want to rebuild, nigga, I'm out too. I ain't gonna lie.
Scottie Pippen was frustrated with his contract and trade rumors swirled all year. The dynasty felt like a sandcastle at low tide, still standing but crumbling at the edges.
Like, you know how it be like, y'all have won so much, you start to get tired of each other. And it starts to feel like you're dragging out, like, just trying to win stuff just for, I don't even know. But, like, personally, me, I mean, as a team, bro, like, why would we not want to just be the greatest team ever assembled and just continue to win? That's just me, personally, me. I don't know about y'all, but that's personally me. I understand, but you already know how this shit goes, ego and everything.
But if you told Michael Jordan the story was over, he'd write his own ending. He called it The Last Dance. The mission: defend the throne one final time, even if the kingdom was falling apart behind him. Chicago limped through the regular season by their standards. 62 wins, still best in the East.
Jeez.
But Pippen missed 35 games after delaying foot surgery in a contract standoff. Jordan carried the load, putting in 38 minutes a night at age 35, like Father Time had decided to take another vacation, just to see how far this maniac could push it. In the playoffs, the Bulls chewed through the Nets and Hornets before running headfirst into the Indiana Pacers, a team built to test
Mark
them.
Jackson.
Reggie Miller jawing, pushing, draining dagger threes. Rick Smits patrolling the paint. It went 7 brutal games, the only time in the Bulls' 6-title run they got pushed to a Game 7 in the East. Jordan willed them through, dropping 28 in the closer. One more finals appearance secured. And waiting for them, the Utah Jazz again. Stockton and Malone wanted payback for last year's heartbreak. Malone was fresh off another MVP. Utah grabbed home court advantage this time. It felt like the rematch that destiny demanded. The series was a street fight. Ugly, physical, low scoring. Game 5 in Chicago turned into the unexpected flu game sequel. Jordan sick again, battling, clawing out a win to send it back to Utah.
Damn, he was sick
again. The Jazz
again?
tied it up in Game 5, forcing a Game 6 that felt like the true final chapter. June 14th, 1998, Delta Center, Salt Lake City. The air thick with tension. Malone bullied his way to 31 points. The Jazz led by 3 with less than a minute left. And then Jordan, always Jordan, stole it. First a layup to cut it to 1. Then he stripped Malone in the post. 1-on-1, ripping the ball like it was his birthright. Then came the shot. Top of the key, Brian Russell backpedaling. Jordan crossed over, maybe pushed off, maybe didn't.
Maybe pushed off, maybe didn't. Hey, man, it definitely was a push-off, and that's no shot at Jordan. It definitely was a push-off. But you know what I'm going to say to that? Get your weight up, buddy. Get in that weight room, buddy. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a push-off, but at the same time, man, a lot of us, like, we be getting pushed off, like, slightly, like, when we hoop. But if you really got weight to you, you know what I'm saying? You got some muscle to you, bro. Like, you'll be able to still recover and be there. This nigga fell! Bro, the way Jordan pushed him, you could tell it was not a crazy push-off. It was just like I'm gonna put my hand on your ass. No Diddy baby oil. I'm gonna push you a little bit, and I'm gonna cross your ass over. But you should not be touching Earth like these, bro. Like, you shouldn't be doing that, man. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You ask. Rose
That's
up
weight room,
and
bro.
buried that 20-footer. Snap. Net 87-86. 18 seconds left. The arena silent, except for the roar of Chicago's traveling faithful. No timeouts, no panic. Just a man who had spent the entire decade ripping out hearts, ripping out one more. Stockton's final three bounced off the rim.
Yeah,
Game
that was
over,
heartbreaking.
Series over.
That's heartbreaking.
Dynasty over. 6 titles in 8 years. 6 finals MVPs. No game 7s. A perfect ending for the imperfect team that owned the 90s. Jordan walked off with his fist in the air. A snapshot frozen forever. The greatest ever, riding into the sunset, leaving the league to wonder if anyone would ever touch what he built. The last dance was over. The empire fell. But the legend, that would live forever. The end of the Bulls dynasty didn't happen on the court, it happened in boardrooms. After Jordan's final shot, the NBA drifted into chaos. Players wanted a bigger piece of the pie, owners wanted to control rising salaries, and negotiations froze. For 204 long days, the league was locked out. No trades, no camps, no games, just silence and headlines about billionaires and millionaires arguing while fans waited. When the lockout finally broke in January 1999, there was barely time for a proper season. Teams sprinted through a 50-game schedule, exhausted bodies crashing into back-to-back-to-backs. The Bulls, they were ghosts. Jordan retired again, Phil Jackson gone, Pippen traded to Houston, Rodman briefly bounced around like a rock star without a stage, and champions to the basement in months. The dynasty turned to rubble overnight. With the Kings dethroned, the league felt wide open. It was time for someone new to grab the crown. And in the chaos, a fresh force rose, the San Antonio Spurs. For years, the Spurs had been a punchline, good but not good enough. Then they lucked out when David Robinson, the Admiral, went down hurt in '97.
David Robinson.
That terrible season landed them the #1 pick. And Tim Duncan, the quiet, unshakable big man from Wake Forest.
Timmy!
Together, Robinson and Duncan became the Twin Towers. 2 7-footers, smart, disciplined, and ruthless at the rim. Led by the unflappable Greg Popovich, the Spurs bullied their way through the shortened season. Duncan's game wasn't flashy, but it was brutal. Bank shots off the glass, perfect footwork, no wasted motion. Robinson handled the dirty work. Sean Elliott and Avery Johnson spread the floor. They didn't care about style points. They just smothered teams on defense and ground them down in the paint. In the playoffs, the old guard kept falling. Shaq's Lakers were talented but undisciplined, swept by the Spurs in the second round.
Jeez.
The Trailblazers had size and flash, but no answer for San Antonio's fundamentals. In the East, the Knicks, an 8 seed after an up-and-down regular season, shocked everyone by clawing through the bracket, toppling the Heat and Pacers to reach the finals. But New York's miracle run hit a stone wall. Patrick Ewing tore his Achilles before the finals even began, leaving the Knicks to fight giants without their anchor. Duncan wasted no time, 27 points, 14 boards a night. Robinson cleaned up everything else. The Spurs closed it out in 5 games, celebrating
Robinson was a big
while Knicks
dude.
fans sat in stunned silence. San Antonio had its first ring, and it felt like the start of something bigger. Duncan
Wait, what was
barely in his
name? I don't know why I don't remember this dude's name. I don't know why I can't remember his name, bro. I know this is so I just
first ring, and it felt like the start of something bigger. Duncan, barely in his second year, already looked like the future.
Don't it start with an L or something like that?
Robinson got his long overdue validation. Popovich planted the seeds of a dynasty that would quietly shape the next 2 decades. Meanwhile, the NBA was changing fast. Young stars like Kobe Bryant and Allen Iverson were starting to own the highlight reels. Shaq was about to find the right running mate. A new generation was ready to flip the page on the bruising, grinding 90s and make the game faster, flashier, and bigger than ever before. The Bulls were gone. The torch had passed. The 90s were over, but they'd laid the foundation for everything that came next.
Facts.
If you want more stories like this,
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. The 90s, I should have known watching this video. It wasn't gonna be nothing but about the Bulls, man. I should have known that, man. Obviously, this is pretty much just a Bulls video recap. You know what I'm saying? Like, we knew all this about the Bulls. They ran shit straight up, bro. And I'm telling y'all, bro, like, just imagine if Jordan never retired, bro. He would have had 7 rings, probably. 7. Crazy. But who knows, you know? Jerry Krause probably would have ended the team earlier than that. Who fucking knows? You know what I'm saying? But what's channel name? Shout out to NBA Explain, man. If y'all want me to watch more videos like this, man, put it in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, I just said put in the comments down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. We on the road to 6K, then we on the road to 10K. I appreciate all y'all, man. I love y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one, man. I'm out this mug.